What is up, sexy people of the internet? It is David. It is Duncan. Back from Metal Epidemic for
Sunday school names? What's going on here?
another album review, Duncan.
All right.
For this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the new album from UK riff-slingers employed to serve.
Look at them sling those riffs.
Sling them my way. The band's new album, Fallen Star, will be released on April 25th via Spinefarm Records. Since meeting in their teens on the outskirts of London, vocalist Justine Jones and guitarist co-vocalist Sammy have had their sights fixed on the road ahead. At first, it was all about standing with the local scene bands they admired, but before long, they were forging a path of their own. Lifers with a mission, evolving from the feral mathcore of their early EPs to detonating a full-throttle career high with 2021 album Conquering, and now there's Fallen Star, an 11-track tour de force that sees the collective ETS vision refined to an even sharper degree. Produced and mixed by Mr. Lewis Johns.
Oh,
A long-standing presence behind the desk. Features a number of special guests, including Killswitch Engage's Jesse Leach on Whose Side Are You On, and Svalbard's Serena Cherry on Last Laugh. Also a Mr. Ramos appearing on the album as well. Fallen Star, the band's third album via Spinefarm, is a record of dizzying diversity, yet also one that is utterly uncompromising, taking a deliberately different path to the cathartic anger of fan-favourite release The Warmth of a Dying Sun. Fallen Star focuses on positive themes, such as finding inner confidence, sticking fearlessly to beliefs, and embracing the power that flows within a tight-knit group. Employed to Serve have come, have seen, have conquered, and now reign supreme as one of Britain's brightest stars, hell-bent on forging their legacy of heavy metal unity. Long may it continue. So, Employed to Serve, album number 5, which follows their 2021 release, Conquering.
I do have one thing to pick out on that press statement, though. What was that first sentence?
The first sentence?
Yeah.
Since
This will be worth it, guys. Hang on here.
Since meeting in their teens on the outskirts of London?
Is it London or is it London? Come on, Dave. Say it right.
The last time I did that, I got in all sorts of trouble, Duncan.
Say it right.
I think your quote was, "You've Ray Winstoned it," is what you said when I did it last time.
Right, listen, the people come back for a reason. It's not because we're always right.
It's not the accents either, Duncan.
I just feel that this... I don't want to hold up what is already going to be a long review by forcing this, but I will have a sit-in right now. Hell no, I won't go, Dave. Come on. The band want it as well. I can feel Sammy channeling it fucking through his monitor.
I don't know. I kind of feel like they want the review.
I kind of feel like they want... Well, I'm telling you right now, the top comment better be, where's Dave's questionable London accent. So, in your own time, Dave.
We never reviewed the previous album.
You're gonna get so many thumbs down on this because you just didn't do what the people wanted. Anyway,
I'm tired of offending people, Duncan.
Don't get us cancelled because you're afraid to do something that will get us cancelled, Dave. So come on.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
2 negatives make a positive. So that's how math works. 2 wrongs are a right, Dave.
Yeah, we didn't review the last album, probably because I was on holiday somewhere, but you know, obviously,
never in country.
That was 4 years ago, 2021. So I mean, potentially partially written during lockdown. I don't know. So they've had a good stretch of time anyway to work on the follow-up, Fallen Star. Plus they've been out on the road doing like huge tours with the likes of Gojira, tightening up as a band, getting a taste for the bigger things, the finer things in life, Duncan. And the question is, has that experience and time and maturity, has it transferred onto Fallen Star, Duncan? That is the question I have to ask you. And what is the answer?
I So I can't say if the impact of touring with small bands like Gojira on huge stages up and down the country will it have an impact on a band's sound. How could I possibly tell that? All I can tell you is I think the answer is yes. See how I just committed to that right away? You thought he's gonna straddle that fence. No. Employed to Serve are always a band I look forward to checking out.
Weirdly, I'm wearing a Gojira t-shirt tonight. That was not planned at all, but I'm wearing a Gojira t-shirt.
You are on brand, man.
I know. I really
am. On fucking brand. Now say London. So this album might get 5 land downs out of right. Anyway, so yeah, I'm always curious to hear what the next release sounds like, because they are a band who genuinely feel like every album is a kind of leveling up experience. Yeah. There's always something about a release from them that feels like, right, this is the new thing we're bringing to the party, and that could be either a heading up of the riffs, it could be production, it could just be like a musical direction. What I kind of love about this release in particular is the focus to the pummeling riff. This album is employed to serve you riffs of a heavy magnitude. It really it was the first thing upon the finish of the entire album that struck out to me was I don't think there's like even one riff on here that I think is mid. Even a little bit, every riff is just fucking killer. And as a result, there are so many moments when you're listening to it, you feel like you're trying to stop headbanging inappropriately in places that you shouldn't. Like a McDonald's bathroom. You know, is that something where you're like, why am I headbanging right now? It's very tailored around that. And as a result, you get this combination of kind of almost, at times, Killswitchy, engagey sort of riffs meets kind of early 2000s In Flames style riffage, but a Slipknot in there, which I think we picked out on our reaction, kind of around that kind of psychosocial sort of era, especially on the track we had reacted to, Atonement, where it did have that kind of, I think even the percussion had a bit of a snap that almost sounded like a steel barrel. You've got that, but where Employed to Serve like continue to level up is in that vocal delivery. Justine's vocals on this are, I mean, as close to absolute fucking savage, rabid fire you're gonna get. Punishingly heavy. I mean, punishingly heavy. And then you get it kind of sandwiched up really nicely with Sammy's kind of backing vocals, which sway in between like the kind of aggro kind of death growl that he's got down par, and then that like soaring melody. That like the melodic hooks in this album are fucking unreal. Atonement is a great example of that, which has got like an earworm of a chorus, which you might as well just clear room out your head for the next week, because you're just gonna be walking around the house singing it. I'm always skeptical of when bands bring in several guest vocalists. I know why they do it, because they're friends with people and they want their friends on their album. I also sometimes I'm like, this is going to be like live. Are these songs not going to get played live? Because are they going to just do it all themselves? And if that's the case, then should I be excited about that? What's really interesting about this one is they've went down not the completely familiar route that I would. Like Will Ramos is brought in not to do what you would expect from a Will Ramos performance. It's like, it's more in the lines of kind of like really, really, it's not baritone, but it sits somewhere in the mid-baritone range of kind of like vocal melody. It's fucking great. And just to add to the plethora of things this guy can do as a vocalist, singing is one of them as well. Yay, don't you just love it when people are great at everything? Serena Cherry arrives. She's got a really cool vibe on Last Laugh, which is the 8th song. Really like that addition in. It just kind of like fucking bulks out those vocals. She's got an amazing tone anyway, and it kind of works off because of the range that she sits at, which is a higher register than Justine's vocals. And like it kind of like nicely kind of works off them. I was, because there had already been a few kind of Killswitchy riffs earlier in the album, I did wonder what Jesse Leach's appearance was going to be like. I was like, if it sounds too much like Killswitch, then I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. Plus, you know, already I've heard about 17 better Killswitch riffs on this album, on the last God knows how many Killswitch albums. So I was curious, whose side are you on, which is the track that comes right after Serena Cherry's appearance, is really fucking good as well. It actually is the one that like avoids that kind of leaning into the old Killswitch formula. It's a great appearance as well. It's one of the shorter songs on the album overall, so it's a real kind of in and out sort of thing. The album finishes in a really powerful double 1-2 kind of punch fashion with the two longest songs, both songs over 5 minutes, in the Renegades and From This Day Forward. The Renegades leans really into just kind of going quite savage, while From This Day Forward just sounds fucking huge. Like it is an album closer with all the weight and gravitas of something special and something final. And like after the first listen, I was like, "Fuck me!" Like that. Like, this sounds huge. Like, and that's not to say that Employed to Serve haven't sounded huge.
Yeah.
But this to me sounds like. See, if you told me this was out on Nuclear Blast or on fucking Sony or something like that, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." And I'm not diminishing Spinefarm, but this sounds big for Spinefarm. Like, this sounds like this band are kind of moving away from the small clubs that we've seen them in. To something much bigger in terms of, you know, of songs, just like having that impact. I can imagine this at the Barras. I could imagine headlining in the Barras easily. Off the back of this, it just sounds like a complete leveling up. We would be remiss if we didn't mention incredible guitar solos, thunderous percussion. Percussion is fucking tight as a nun snatch, because I don't get to use that sentence a lot. And then Lewis Johns doing what? Like, has the guy ever really done a bad production? And how does he just find British bands and just make them sound like they're all on the roids, man? Like, you know what I mean? This is like a roid rager of an album, if ever there was some. So, like, listen to this. Like, I think this is the most confident Employed to Serve I've ever sounded. I think front to back, this is a tour de force. I think like every song has its place, has its purpose. The quieter moments are in the right place. Tracks that have huge, massive singing choruses are followed by tracks that maybe forgo the singing chorus altogether and give you just something much more savage. It closes out in a really powerful fashion. My slight niggle on this one, if I can call it that, is, and this is a consistent line from me, I think sometimes one guest appearance is enough, maybe two. 3 for me is maybe pushing it, but at least he went down the road of not doing what death metal bands do, which is get 3 vocalists in who could essentially just be their vocalist. In the case of this one, they did.
Come on,
like,
guys.
it's literally like, here, let me find another 4 vocalists that sound just like me. In the case of this one, they've picked 3 vocalists that sound very different to the kind of vocal performances delivered by the band, which is kind of cool. It opens it up. That's my only gripe on this one. This, once again, just is designed to remind you that one of the most consistent and powerful British metal bands walking the planet right now are Employed to Serve, which is something we knew before already, but it's great to be proved right again. So, yeah, this is fucking great. Really, really, really good. This, like, if this doesn't shift units and push them up, like, I don't know what they need to do, except maybe sign a contract with Satan. It just sounds monumentally massive from start to finish. How about you, Dave? How did you get on?
I was a big fan of Conquering, so I was definitely looking forward to hearing what they were going to do on this release. Like kind of 4 years removed from that, and for me, like this sounds like Employed to Serve, just with the dial turned right up. Everything is bigger here, and I mean everything is bigger, even the production, which I'll come on to, but all the kind of elements and ideas that they were kind of kind of playing with and testing, because they do a kind of, there has been an involvement in sound with this band over time, but everything they were trying on Conquering has kind of come to fruition here, and the end result is nothing short of spectacular. And I think the way they've released the singles is pretty genius. Like it gives you a taste of what to expect from this, going from like Atonement with Will Ramos, which I mean, like, as a flex in itself. But that track gives you some real hefty moments in the riff departments, big vocal hooks from Justine. There are so many lines, in that track you can imagine fans will just kind of latch on to. But then the chorus is absolutely massive. So you've also got little layers of like synths in there as well to kind of elevate, and the solo is an absolute shredder as well. It's like the definition of an anthem, I mean, it's like, and that is the first single you've released from your album. They then follow that with Fallen Star, the title track, and show like a completely different side to the Employed to Serve sound. It's still got weight to it, but a much more kind of emotional pull. They are layering synths and piano in the background. It's almost kind of reminiscent of like kind of Rolo Tomassi. Really cool, like just a really nice ebb and flow to the track. And again, bolstered with another very hook-laden chorus. So already, like, in the two singles, you've probably got more clean vocals on those two tracks than you had in the whole of Conquering, which, I mean, like that, it could be a risk. But I think this will gain more fans than it will put off, to be honest.
I think there's heavier moments on this vocally as well than they've done before. Like Justine seems to have found another level.
Yeah.
Like a new level.
It just feels like Employed to Serve are just like writing really impressive, well thought out songs, but also kind of delivering more of that kind of emotional side. I think Fallen Star is an absolute highlight of this album. I think it's an absolutely bitchin' track. But then they flipped that with It Breaks Me Down, which is the latest single, which I'm not entirely sure when I heard it, but initially I was like, have they changed tuning for this track, or have they went like 7-string? Guitars, there's moments here the guitars sound low as fuck, but I'm not entirely sure. But that aside, it's got an introduction that's like kind of very like almost kind of like 80s inspired with the synths. It's got electronic drums, and then the track obviously eventually kicks into gear. But this one's like a simpler kind of structure, but gives you a third single that sounds, again, totally different to the previous two they've released. However, when you hear the three singles kind of back to back in the context of the album and the flow between the three tracks, like all kind of bunched together, totally works. Like the three tracks actually work brilliantly together. And the rest of the album just continues to uncover like more individuality in each track, while still elevating the elements that they've shown in the three singles. Sometimes they'll go harder on a track. Familiar Pain, for example, has like these kind of like death metal type runs in the guitars, got the kind of blast beats coming in from Casey, but again with like splashes of like hardcore and groove metal, and again another vocal melody that will catch your ear. But when I was listening to this album, like every kind of my second or third listen, it was just how like meticulous this has been put together. The attention to detail here is great, and it is an album that every time I listened to it, I would pick something new out that I never kind of noticed the last time, especially in the lead work. There's little bits in the background that just kind of lift up sections, or there's bits of like spoken words on the likes of Brother Stand Beside Me, which
like, see the synth work on that and the lead work in the background of the guitar parts, just fucking
really a really nice kind of centerpiece to the album, that track. And again, the solos are fucking epic on that one as well. Really, really tasteful. Like they don't overdo it. But I felt like the lead work on the album was fantastic right across the board. Even in its more kind of subtle moments, they still play a part in adding to the kind of grandeur of the tracks. I loved the kind of the whittles. I don't know what to call it. The whittles on Now yes. Thy Kingdom Come. That's a technical term. It kind of reminded me of like early kind of After the Burial as well at times. That the kind of lead work. And again, the ending of that track, that guitar tone, again, it's very much, I don't know, like they go kind of low again on the guitar tone at the end. It might be a whammy bar maybe they're using. It could be, because it kind of, they bring the pitch down at the very end. It's really like thick sounding. So it might be a whammy bar. I don't know. Big Sammy and he's...
We'll find out.
Sammy Swami. So bad.
Is that literally the only reason you spent time on that story right there? I was like, he's fixated on that whammy.
What's Sammy big whammy? And just when you think like they have no more ideas to pull out of the bag, they drop in Last Laugh with Serena from Svalbard, and that track just gives you these like huge kind of gothic, this kind of like doomy kind of backdrop. It's got this haunting kind of clean guitar motif, and the synths really like amp up the melancholy of the track. But then you've also got Serena adding in this like more like kind of darker, more gothic vocal, which just really adds mood to the track. And vocally, this album couldn't really be better. Like when you think about all the elements, Justine is an absolute like firecracker on this. Her tone, her delivery is just pure Venom for the whole album. But for me, like I felt like her confidence on this one just really kind of stood out. Her choice of phrasing and where she puts certain emphasis on the lyrics, it felt more commanding than it has kind of on previous albums. And then you've got the contrast of that against Sammy's clean tone, which works incredibly well. His confidence also really shines through on this. There's much more melody on this than there was before, but like when you can write hooks and perform them like this, then like why wouldn't you increase this?
100.
This
If you can do this, like this is the argument I get into all the time where people like, oh, they've got melody now, they've sold it. If you can sing like this, it'd be like saying to like Eddie Van Halen, do we need the guitar solos, Eddie? You know what I mean? Can you just play the riffs? If you can do it, you fucking do it.
Yeah, and it just makes the songs even more memorable for me.
100%.
I felt like vocally there wasn't a dull moment on this. And yeah, I kind of agree with yourself. I think like the guests are great, but I don't think this album would have been less great without them. You know what I mean? Like, there doesn't seem to be anything missing vocally from this album. And I can see why they've done it. Like it adds a different tone, a different texture.
I also think if you're gonna do, let me play devil's advocate because I just thought of this while you've been saying this. If you were gonna do it on an album, with these people that have like Jesse Leach opens you up to a big swath of metal fans that you may have not have reached before. Will Ramos 100% opens you up to a huge audience base. And Serena Cherry, I think you've kind of covered like that element. That song's very important as is, and it's kind of great to have a little bit of balance there in terms of the vocals. She's another very prominent, British metal female vocalist. So I think with the band sounding as refined and polished and heavy as they do, maybe this is the time you want a lot of eyes on them by doing that. So from a marketing point of view, it makes sense. But I'm with you. You could literally remove the guest appearances from this album and this album would be just as fucking strong, just as memorable, just as catchy on their own. I mean I can totally see why they've done it, and even like the addition of even Jesse on Whose Side Are You On, like again he adds a different register, a different kind of tone to the track, so I totally understand it. And for me, like the album just continues on delivering, like moment after moment. I love the Renegades. I think it's a killer track. There's these little kind of tails on the riffs that kind of reminded me of what is the album? Bloodthirst, the Cannibal Corpse album. There's a few that just reminded me of that kind of era of Cannibal Corpse. Again, the chorus, another banger, but it doesn't sound like anything they've done earlier in the album as well. There's a nice layering on that track. That Sammy's got like a clean vocal and a slightly kind of fried sounding vocal as well. The two of them together, but it's a really nice kind of sound and melody with the two vocal styles together. I mean, like I need to obviously shout out Big Louis Johns. Again,
I've
continues to do it, man. It continues.
I've no idea if he's big, but his production is on this album. Fucking hell.
Like when it counts behind the desk.
This is monstrous. Like it's so heavy, but it's clean and it's detailed. Like you could eat your fucking dinner off this.
It's like he recorded with. Remember when we heard that Ithaca release? And we were like, this sounds fucking huge. It's like he's done that amount of that, but more.
It's nuts. I mean, I feel like he's already dealing with a lot of like well-known UK bands, like you mentioned, like Rolo, Tomassi, and Pupil Slicer, Ithaca, Svalbard, Conjurer, all that sort of stuff. Conjurer American, but I think we're going to see. I think we'll see more kind of bands from across the seas or across the pond wanting to come and work with Lewis Johns, because
why not, man?
the quality of his albums are just off the charts good. Like, and for me, I think this is the best sound employed to serve I've had like to date. I think the production is incredible on this. I wish I had some sort of negative thing to say about this album. I don't like. I kind of loved every minute of it, and like the band should be immensely proud of what they put together on this one. Like you said, if this doesn't put them on an even bigger platform, then I don't know what will.
Yeah, I don't know either, man. And I also kind of feel like the bands that we mentioned as comparisons to this have kind of had their day.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So you've got a whole sea of fans there that are kind of maybe a little bit despondent that the bands that they loved aren't churning out the bangers that they used to.
Yeah.
And Employed to Serve are right there now with that sound that you love, that you want, that you need. And they're just really the thing I always get excited about them is every time you hear an album, you just kind of feel like they're just getting started, even though they've been around for a while now. I know. It's fucking nuts.
This is I feel like this is them kind of hitting the highlights now. This album has everything for me. I thought it was great. Just geese the vinyl now, like that's just that's what needs to kind of complete.
Give him time. He's running a record label.
Yeah, I mean, also it needs to be said, like Sammy and Justine, like two of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Honestly,
like,
it's so bloody nice.
Just really passionate about what they do. Like with the band, but also on the PR and the label side of things, it's an absolute pleasure to deal with them on their Church Road releases. They clearly just they love what they do, and they have a really good ear for really good music as well. Let's score this album, Duncan. What are you scoring Fallen Star? I
mean, expect to hear this a lot this month. It's getting a 5. You're right. There's nothing I can pick fault in here.
No.
My biggest gripe is that they brought in like maybe more guests than I would have, but the songs they brought the guests on are fucking great.
Yeah.
And the elements sound really cool.
Yeah.
So I can't even throw that as a negative because it works for them on that track. This is the best the band has ever sounded. This is my favorite Employed to Serve album. And I am like so immensely excited that they are hopefully going to reap what they rightly deserve from this release. I'm looking forward to catching them somewhere on the road. So,
it's an easy 5 for me. Like as I said, I had no criticisms. There was nothing I would change. I agree with you on the guests, but it didn't kind of detract from the songs.
It sounds great.
The songs sound great. So it's a 5 from me as well. Really enjoyed this. So the band are on tour in April. UK tour with Burner and is it Celestial Sanctuary? Is that the other band, I think?
Yes.
So they're playing all over the UK. I think Glasgow is the Cat House, I want to say, I think.
Which is not a great venue, but we've seen them in there before and they sounded fucking great.
Yeah,
so as
true.
long as just have the same sound at a minimum, please, then I'll be happy.
So that is the new Employed to Serve album, which is out on April 25th on Spinefarm Records. It's called Fallen Star. Links below to the band. I'll put a link to the pre-order, one of the singles. Check it out, have a listen. The 3 singles are great, I've heard, that have been released at this point anyway. There may be more coming, I don't know. That's the review. Thanks for checking it out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye everyone.